What's up? Good Monday evening to you all out there. Welcome into another episode of OBR GameTape here on the OBR streaming network. Please make sure if you're checking us out on YouTube, you hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. It'll help us out a ton. Hit that bell. It'll let you know every time we go live and post content. We've got multiple shows for you Monday through Friday. Probably even more shows once the season kicks off, which is almost there. We're your hosts. I'm Jacob. That's Sam. We appreciate you guys being in here. This is pre-recorded as it always is, so I'm sorry. I'll try to interact with you in the comments if I get time. But, you know, it's how it is. Sam, how you doing today about
it? Recovering from 4th of July. Not that there was much to really recover from. Went to see fireworks. That was cool. But no Browns news, so that's usually a good thing at this point in the off season. So can't complain about that.
Oh, there was, I just thought about this because I was wanted to get your opinion. Side note, I do work at Ohio University in the Copperheads. The summer league amateur baseball team plays at Ohio University's baseball stadium. So 4 Fridays a year, or sometimes it's on Saturdays, but like at 4 games, they shoot off fireworks. And so usually it's around break time for me in the evening. So I'm usually able at work to pop my head out the window and watch some fireworks. So that's kind of fun and interesting. I did want to get your real quick, because I don't think I've asked you about this. That Steelers trade that popped up. For everybody that doesn't remember, the Steelers traded Minkah Fitzpatrick and some picks. I think there was a pick swap in there for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith. And my question about their defense was, did their defense get better when swapping just a DB that plays slightly different, has a bigger attitude problem, and now you're starting Juan Thornhill? Is there...
That's a really good question, and I don't have a great answer for you because I have no idea which version of Thornhill they're going to get.
Yeah.
Because if it's the one that was in Cleveland, absolutely not. You didn't get better. If it's the one that was in Kansas City, I think there's potentially a route there. I would say overall for them, the trade's a win because they added Smith. Okay. I think that makes their offense a little bit more dynamic. But, I mean, who knows? Like, there's a big wild card there. So that's, I guess, a risk they're willing to take. It seems like they're I don't know. I feel like if they were going all in, for Aaron Rodgers this year, you would think they would have just added more picks and kept Fitzpatrick. So, and kept George Pickens too. So I don't really know what the Steelers are doing. Because they don't have a path forward after this season, but it doesn't really seem like they're super committed to this season. So I don't know. It should be kind of interesting to see, and it could end up, being a huge dumpster fire in a couple months. So
here's the thing: until I see the Pittsburgh Steelers be a dumpster fire, I won't believe it because I've foretold it a million times and it's never happened. I'm like, yeah, this time. It's this time. But man, these moves are weird because it's like you get DK Metcalf and you're like, okay, this is interesting because whoever's the quarterback's going to have Metcalf and Pickens. Like, that's going to be crazy. Then you move Pickens and you're like, well, okay, I guess. Who's your second wide receiver? That's like, oh, we're going to get Jalen Ramsey. And at first I was like, oh, shit. Like, as a Browns fan, I was like, no. Jalen Ramsey added to that unit with Joey Porter and Minkah. And then all of a sudden it's like, but Jonnu Smith's also in that trade. I'm like, oh my God. But then they're like, and Minka's in that trade. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it feels like they make a move to better themselves, but then make a move that takes away what they added to, because they add the wide receiver and they trade the wide receiver. And I understand that the Minkah trade wasn't a separate trade from the Ramsey trade, but it felt like it in a sense because of the way it was announced. It was announced that, like, oh, they're getting Jalen Ramsey. You were like, okay. It's like, oh, and also Jonnu Smith in a separate paid trade. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then they're like, but Minka's in it. And I'm like, it feels like one of the, I mean, they could end up like, being really good. I don't know. It depends on Aaron Rodgers, but like, it feels like it was just a weird trade. And I just wanted to say that. I just wanted that on recording that I just thought
weird from the Dolphin perspective.
Yeah. Why are you taking Minka when you're dumping?
Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to listen to some. I'm very interested. I meant to do it, but I like to sometimes when trades like this that baffle me happen. I like to go listen to like podcasts of the teams that were involved, and I haven't gotten around to listen to some of the Dolphins podcasters talk about it yet. So I'll have to get around to that this week. All right, guys, we're going to talk about Joe Tryon-Shoyinka today, or as Casey Kinnaman calls him, JTS, so that I don't have to try to say that a bunch of times, because then I'll butcher it, and that's disrespectful, and I don't want to do that. I also recorded a podcast that will come out on Wednesday in which I talked about Dylan Thieneman, and that's apparently not how you say it, but I said it that way 12 times or more, so I just wanted to apologize to Dylan and his family before that airs on Wednesday night. So last week we talked about the release of Obo Okoronkwo, and it really comes down to, in my opinion, them trading out Obo for Joe Tryon-Shoyinka for JTS. Like that's kind of what it feels like to me. And I'll get into it in a second after Sam kind of gives his rundown on JTS. But like Obo was your designated fourth pass rusher that's just a situational pass rusher. And to me, that's what Shoyinka is. Like, that's what JTS is to me. I don't really necessarily see a 3-down player there. But I do see a guy that could be, potentially productive as a pass rusher. And he's a little bit younger, got a little bit of a better athletic profile. So they just kind of swapped situational pass rusher for situational pass rusher. But I know it's a hot button topic. So we're like, let's do this. Let's dive into some of the film. So, Sam, I'll let you start. Just kind of your scouting report, your takeaways after watching JTS.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had pretty much the same takeaways as you did. I wrote back in March. We did a film room on him at the OBR, and pretty much it was the same thing. Like, hey, this is a guy who doesn't necessarily have the same physical skill set as Okoronkwo, but they're very similar athletically. Tryon-Shoyinka is bigger, he's longer, and he does a lot of the same things as far as a role standpoint. So only about a quarter of his snaps last season for the Buccaneers came as in a 3-point stance. So he's primarily a stand-up 2-point stance outside linebacker guy. And there are reps of him even going out to slot corner and covering guys in the slot, because that was his role. And that was kind of similar to what Okoronkwo did in Los Angeles before he came to Cleveland. And then he did something very different as a member of the Browns, and the results were kind of iffy, right? It wasn't good enough to justify keeping him at this point. So I think, to me, what they're doing is they're getting younger, they're giving a younger guy a shot, they're getting cheaper, and they're not losing anything, I don't really think, going from Okoronkwo to Tryon, because of the limited role that guy's going to play. Like, ideally, he's not going to be counted on as a starter. Ideally, he's not even going to be the backup edge, right? He's going to be the third string, fourth guy. So, and then you add in all the defensive tackles that they're going to have, and guys like Hall and Graham and Collins may even get some decent snaps as an end. So there's a lot of bodies in that room. I think they're consolidating, they're getting cheaper, they're getting more affordable, they're getting younger. And then on top of it, I think because he's younger, because he's a better athlete, because he has a better frame, I think there's a degree of untapped potential for him versus Okoronkwo, who's kind of already tapped out as a player. So I think it's a smart move. I don't necessarily know how much on-field results is going to come from this. Like, is he going to suddenly break out and become, this starting caliber edge? Probably not. I was a pretty big fan of him coming out, but he really hasn't put things together as much as I thought he would. I think he also looked a lot bigger in college. He was listed around like the 270 range, and he does not play at that level in the NFL. So I think that's another aspect to it, is kind of like, we thought he was kind of like, this archetype of a player, but in reality, he's been used as this one. So possibly, him being more of a 3-point stance, hand in the dirt kind of guy in Cleveland, maybe that'll result in some better reps for him because it's what he's more physically attuned for. But again, like, he's going to be a third, fourth string guy. So really anything you get out of him is a bonus at this point, especially considering you're saving a decent amount of money.
Yeah, and I think what you said is the most important, is that untapped potential and it being higher than Okoronkwo's. That's it being cheaper and there potentially being more upside. Like, yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. It kind of makes that a no-brainer move from that side of things. Like, yeah. So size and length was kind of a strength they put on him, 6'5", 260. So he's going around 10 or more pounds lighter than he was in college. So it shows. In my opinion, it shows. I will say this: everybody talks about him being the 32nd overall pick. I liked him a lot coming out too. I do think he was overdrafted. I don't know that he was a first-round talent for me, but he's got this high ceiling because of this athleticism, and we'll highlight that in some of the video some of the tape that we're going to dive into here soon. But like, the raw physical, like, athletic gifts are there to be a disruptive pass rusher. Like, it's there. Like, he's got a really good burst off the line of scrimmage. There's a sack that I have highlighted from the 2023 season where he just wins because he just fires off he just gets the outside shoulder and the tackle gets a hand on him, but it's just, he's got that burst and athletic ability and speed to get past there. I really do think that this is a good system for him. I'm very intrigued by it because he is an aggressive guy. Like, he's an aggressive, explosive pass rusher at his best, when he's at his best. And you're like, okay, you start talking about trades and start watching some of the tape. You're like, I can see how this works out for Jim Schwartz. But yeah, like, he just hasn't put it all together. Like, it's just not there. I'm with you. About the, like, I'm not sure he's going to develop, but can he be like a 5 or 6 sack guy for you as your, like, third or fourth edge? Like, yeah, I think he can. I think he can have 5 or 6 sacks and in this role, but I don't see really it being more than that because I don't know if the reps are going to be there, due in large part to, I think he's going to play a lot of third downs or a lot of, like, 2-minute drill where you've got pass rushers out there because they're not running the ball. Like, there's 30 seconds left in the game. You know what I mean? So, like, I think that's a lot of what he's going to get. Like, sometimes I think he doesn't execute consistently with his hands because I think he's got some good hands. Like, I think he's got good enough hands to be an effective pass rusher, but I think sometimes it just goes out the window. And that's why sometimes I think he's ineffective as a pass rusher, where it's like, I've seen you do multiple pass rush moves, so where have they been for the last 2 weeks? Like, because I've seen you club rips. I've seen a rip move, a swim move. He's got a spin move. Like, he's got all the athletic ability, but sometimes he just, like, tries to go straight through their chest. And I will say, after my initial profile and then rewatching him, I do think he has more power than I thought he does. That I thought he did as a pass rusher, because sometimes he converts speed to power well as a pass rusher and, like, delivers the guy into his lap. But again, it's few and far between when he actually does it. And that's why he is getting paid and put into the role that he's in. Is it's just consistency's not there. The physical traits, the flashes, they're all there, but it ends up being 15 sacks in 4 years because that's where you're at. You're around a 4 sack a year guy. I'm going to see if I missed anything over here. The motor, for the most part, the motor's there. It's because he's playing through the whistle. It's just, sometimes it's just effort is what he's giving. He's not necessarily doing good technique. So I want to say that. It's not like he's lazy or sloppy on the field. No, I just think sometimes he just doesn't execute. But he's not half-ass out there. He's not, jogging and stuff like that. Like, I there's some plays I'm very intrigued by him because he can chase down athletic quarterbacks from the back. Like, when they're running and scrambling and extending plays in the backfield, he'll chase them down, and I think that's fun. But yeah, that's what I've got. So I think it's about time for us to. Sam, do you want to do your tape first? Since I did my tape first
Sure.
last week. So now, 20 minutes in, we will actually get to the tape. You know, I got in trouble a couple of times for waiting too long for us to start the tape portion of this show, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'd like to lay out the profile so that I can be like, hey, look, this is what, when we're about to show you these plays, like this is what I want you to look for, because you know I went back and watched a lot of his 2024 tape, but a lot more of the 2023 tape since I was going over that portion of it. And it's like I watched a lot more than I'm going to show you, so I think it matters. That's why we do it this way. Is all I'm saying.
Right. You got to have the context. So this collection of clips highlights something that you were talking about, which is his length. He's got 34-inch arms, so it's not like crazy long, but it's long. Like it's above average. That's definitely long enough to be a threat to offensive linemen. So he's on the left side here of the screen against Penei Sewell, and here you can see he gets into Sewell's chest and he's able to extend. And again, it doesn't end up in like a pressure, like, Sewell's the far better player, but there's an ability there where he can extend. And right now he has the leverage battle. Like he's won the leverage battle here. So what he needs to be like, he can get into the situation pretty frequently just because of his physical tools. It's going from this to finishing the play that he has to get so much better at in order to be a starter. But again, that's part of the development curve that, hopefully he'll continue in Cleveland, but this is why he isn't being paid very much money, because he doesn't finish these kinds of reps. So over here, he's on the left side against Ronnie Stanley. See, this is really nice. Like, it's Lamar Jackson. Like, we talked about this a couple weeks ago with Patrick Mahomes. It's just like, you just throw your hands up and it's like you can't do anything. It's irritating, but this is a good rep. Like he uses his inside arm to keep Stanley off of him completely, and then he's able to bend around, keep that arm locked, and Stanley can't do anything. He does affect the throw, like there's a little bit of pressure there. Ultimately, it's still a touchdown because it's Lamar Jackson, but good rep. Process over results. And then over here again on the left side, extend that inside arm, affect the throw. Once again, touchdown, but he can do these things. He can use that 34-inch arm to his advantage, and just again, it's just a matter of, can you go from, you can get to step A, but can you get from A to B? And he just hasn't been able to do that on a consistent basis yet. So let's see. Share this one. So here again, the hand usage, the technique, no consistency there. Basically, it's just he'll flash it and you're like, okay, now I see it, and then 15-20 reps go by and you don't see anything else. Like, it's like, what are you doing? So see there, that's a good rep. So he gets the tackle to punch, and then he's able to swipe his arm away, active hands through the whole rep, and then bend around the edge and affect the throw. So again, he can do that. It's just where's that for half the game, right? So this is the kind of stuff we're talking about, why he is in the role he's in, despite his first round pedigree, despite all his physical tools and everything. So right side here against Taylor Decker, goes inside, too quick for the guard here, and gets the pressure, forces Goff to sidestep him. So you'll notice a lot of these reps that I'm showing are coming from a 3-point stance where he's on the ground, because I think he's so much better as a 3-point stance rusher. Like I don't know what it is, if he's just still not used to it, if his stance is wrong or something, but he just seems so more explosive when he's coming off the ground versus just a 2-point stance. Like to me, it's a night and day difference. And I would expect him to be a 3-point guy for the Browns pretty much exclusively, despite, what he's had experience in. So over here, right side of your screen against Sewell, again, it's not like crazy, wow reps, but it's, can you do these things consistently when you're given the chance as a third or fourth guy? And, it's up to him to see if you can do that. Run defense wise, again, there's not a great power aspect to his game, but, he'll have some flashes here. So, like, that's a quality rep against the run. So there's flashes, whether it's run defense or good hand usage coupled with his athletic ability as a pass rusher. The consistency, though, is just not there.
Yeah.
But again, like we talked about before, it's that ceiling. That ceiling is higher than what Okoronkwo provides you, because Tryon has 3 inches and 10 pounds on Okoronkwo. So from what the Browns are asking their edges to do, especially not Myles Garrett edges, Tryon-Shoyinka is a much better fit for that, just from a physical perspective, than Okoronkwo is. So I don't want to say addition by subtraction, because I think probably Okoronkwo is a overall better, more consistent player right now. But I think for the role that the Browns are asking that player to play, I think it's going to end up being at minimum a wash, and I think you have the potential for that to come out on top. Okoronkwo or Tryon-Shoyinka to be a better fit for that, and at a cheaper cap hit. So, his tape is not overly impressive. I think there's a lot more like wow plays, wow reps back in college, but it is what it is at this point. And again, I think it's going to end up being, I think, a shrewd move when you consider the financials and you consider the potential. When it's all considered, I think it's the right move for the Browns.
Curious about that. I hadn't looked it up. So he's 26. Obo's 30, which is kind of surprising me. That part kind of surprised me. I was like, I knew he had been around for a few years before he came to Cleveland, but still, you want to hear something depressing?
No.
Did you know we are now officially closer to the year 2050 than the year 2000? Because we're halfway past.
I didn't want to know that.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I had to know now you did.
That's really unfortunate.
That's the best way to put it. Like that's unfortunate. Oh god. All right. There's one interesting thing too, and I didn't put any of the clips in this portion that I have here, but like they dropped him in coverage quite a bit.
Yep.
And he wasn't bad. Like there were some bad reps. Like there's definitely some bad reps, but like would I say he's borderline average, like cover linebacker, like maybe like slightly below average probably, but like will he give you some good reps because of his athletic ability? Yeah, he actually will. Like it was, I didn't clip any of those up, but especially in 2023, they did quite a bit of that, and it was kind of funny. I don't know, but like you see, I'm with you. It's not overly like flashy, awesome tape, but like there really are some reps as a run defender too. So I don't think he's a complete liability, but I think you really only signed him because you're like, I need this guy with crazy, because he's going to get at so many one-on-ones because Miles is on the other side. You're going to have Malik Collins, who I think we're going to do a film room on him next week. And, Mike Hall, Isaiah McGuire, Alex Wright can go on the inside. Like things like with all those guys, like JTS, who's just not been able to consistently put it together, he's going to be two opposing offenses. He's going to be the least terrifying of the group when he's out there with pretty much anybody. They're going to be paying more attention to pretty much everybody else, and that gives him a really unique opportunity with this team. And so I'm very interested to see what that happens. So here, like Sam said, and I think they did it even more. I didn't do the actual numbers here, but you'll see JTS as a stand-up a lot for them. I agree that I think he's better in a three-point stance, but I do see certain reps. Like when you line him up sometimes he gets even wider. He's right here at the bottom of your screen here, over top of the tight end right there. Interestingly enough, against the Lions, but just 2 years ago instead of last year. I lost my train of thought. Sometimes they line him up even wider than that, and then I think when they put him all the way out there, I think he's better as a stand-up if you're going to do that. But I would rather him kind of closer to the tackle with his hand in the dirt. Yeah. But you'll see him here, like I said, right here over the tight end at the bottom of the defensive line. And just a play where you kind of see him use that length and his arm length in decent enough power and hand usage to not get like blown away, and he's able to shed the blocker and make a pretty good play here on the running back. Just pushes him away. I know he gets some help there in that rep. You got him here. I think I cut this clip off a little too quick. But you'll see him again here. Kind of pushes. He's able to shed, get there. You see him here coming after the quarterback here. Just fires off the line of scrimmage. Like there's that explosive first step. That's, for me personally, you talked about how much you liked him coming out. I did too. I thought he was a guy I consistently mocked in like the second, third round for the Browns. And then I remember him getting drafted on pick 32nd as I'm getting ready to go to bed that year. And I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like,
especially after he took this, he opted out of the season. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They really liked him.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, we love you. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. But like, these are the plays. I mean, look at this. You're already, he's so fast and he's dipped around to the point where the tackle's on his back, trying to salvage this rep, see if he can push him past the quarterback, which he can't do, as you can see here. Of course, this is the Bears offensive line in 2023, so you're not exactly doing this against world beaters, and I get that. But here he is, man, in the three-point stance like you talked about it. It's like I ran a little bit of track in high school. I wasn't any good at it, but I ran a little bit of track in high school, and that was a lot of coaches that I had talked to in high school and stuff. For sprinters, they talk about loading up into off the sprinter's block and just having the hands and the legs in like such a loaded position that you fire out of there. But you're just gonna see him. He's just gonna load up and then dip under him and go. Like those are the reps that he was selected to do.
Yes.
He's right here. There's the athletic ability I talked about. Now his team, the running back runs into his teammate too, but he was you could see he's making this play. This is like I hate this run as an NFL fan, but I know why people do it, because they're going to leave him unblocked. He's right here standing up on the left side of your screen. They're going to leave him unblocked because the idea is that they're going to run quickly to the right side, try to get outside here, and that they don't worry about the backside defensive end because they just don't see him having the speed and the athleticism to make the play. but he does. And I know Montgomery kind of slows up because of some other defenders over here, but he's getting chased down by JTS here. One way or another, because he just takes the right angle, right speed and athletic ability, chases him down. This is him just getting kind of, you saw he's right here. He gets taken out of the play here. This is just a lack of power and strength here. Here he is. He just kind of gets driven out of the play. This is the, he gets passed off, but unfortunately for him, I think he's blocked by 2 tight ends. Like I got to look at this from this right angle again, because I don't think, does an offensive lineman hit him, or is it the wide receiver and the tight end? I think it's the wide receiver and the tight end. He's right there. Yeah, the wide receiver hits him, the tight end hits him. He's kind of taken out of the play there. And that to me is just like, doesn't have a crazy good power profile. That's what that is. But you see him up here at the top of your screen. What I like about this play a ton is the recognition here, and you're going to see it here. So he's here, and you'll see him. The play ends up being like a 4 or 5 yard gain, but the thing that I like is he understands that he was playing a mobile quarterback. He was understanding that it could be a run pass option or a read option, which I think it kind of looks like it was, and that's pretty much all he ran with Justin Fields while he was in Chicago. So that's. It's a pretty good guess, right? Like, I think that's a good guess. But you see him break down, good fundamental, great play in my opinion. This is because he breaks down and he stays there to make sure that Justin Fields doesn't pull it. Because if he does, the rest of the defense is going towards the running back in this play. So if he pulls it, there's a good chance Justin Fields gets a huge gain. But JTS is there, broken down, make sure that the quarterback did hand it off before he goes and makes the play. You see him right here on the left side there. See him right here where he kind of hesitates as Justin Fields is doing that boot. That's important.
I think that's one of his better skill sets is his play recognition. Like, I think he's pretty smart, and I think a lot of that comes from the role that he played, which was outside linebacker, where you have to have, you have a lot more responsibility, as far as like coverage and having to be careful about the backside of a play, keep and contain, all these things, as opposed to just like you're a 4-3 end, and primarily your responsibility is hold up your guy at the point of attack on the rundowns and pin your ears back and rush the passer on passing downs. So it does a lot more than that. There's plenty of examples of him, whether or not he makes the play, you can see that he understands what's going on, and he puts himself in a position to just do his job. And I think that's something that he does well. And I think that's a skill set that's valuable when you're making the transition, because then you have that added, element of that mental side of the game. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, because that's the one thing I don't do when I play NCAA and Madden. I don't actually break down and follow the quarterback, and they just pull it on me all day long and just run it down the sideline. It's embarrassing. He's on the right-hand side here. It's just another example of some of the things that happen in the run game. They just kind of drive them out of the field. By a tight end, locks them up until the play's gone. I think a lot of that for me happens with consistency with his hands. Like I just think I see him so much able to get his hands up under a lineman or a tight end's pads and shed them so that he can get off and make a play. But there's just a lot of those plays where he does the opposite of it. Like really consistency is the biggest issue to me, because like I think he has enough power. It's not great, but it's enough. You can't see him at the start of the play. He's here on the right-hand screen. You can see his arm right there. So you can't see him quite right away, but here he is, just a little bit of that speed to power right there that I was talking about. And he pushes the quarterback just right in, or the lineman right into Gardner Minshew's lap. Just, he's going to come wide. He's going to come out there with speed, and then he's going to use that speed and that kind of runway that he got to where he can, if you could convert speed to power, he can be a good pass rusher. And he kind of does it here. Just uncomfortable, bad throw, incomplete pass. Here's a hit. That's him chasing Jared Goff. He actually I think he gets a sack on this play. First, unofficially or officially speaking, but he's right here as your stand-up edge rusher. But, and I know Goff's not Lamar, but, like, Goff's a decent athlete, a decent mover and extender that, people don't often talk about that a lot with him. But here's that athletic ability to win the rep, force the quarterback to flush, and making sure that he doesn't get a chance to reset his feet or take off. So just kind of fakes like he's going to go outside, shoots on the inside, and then I love the angle he takes here, and he just chases him down. To see him on the left-hand side. Just another run snap where he's just kind of taken out of the game. Here he is right here. There he is doing that read option look again, where he's made another opportunity for him to be like, okay, what's Justin Fields? Because this is definitely how they love to run that offense. He understands it there, and he's gonna take a step to the outside once Justin Fields hands it, and then shoots to the inside. Of course, Vita Vea had already started to make the play, but he kept it from Justin Fields potentially having an explosive play to the outside. Here's him lined up over the center. That was not something I saw on his tape a lot, but it happened in this clip out of nowhere. I was not ready for it. I was like, where's he at? Because, when you watch the All-22 film, sometimes it can be a little bit tricky with some of these guys having the same body type. Him and number 7. Who is 7? Is that oh my goodness. They have a pass rusher, number 7. I can't remember his name. But they have similar body types, and I had to keep going through it. Like, I was having a lot of trouble locating him sometimes because, like, oh, there he is. I'm like, great play. And then I'm like, oh, wait, that wasn't him. So in this play, I was trying to find him. But watch him here on this rep. Right here, he's over your center. He's going to work his way back and then just, he understands he's not going through the center on this play. Like, he understands that's not what he's tasked with, what he's going to do. But especially once he sees Gardner, all the line is kind of falling in here, and Minshew's kind of going to his right. He's got that burst and that bend and just whoosh, zips right out there. And I think that's a former Brown that never played, Naheem Hines, that kind of whiffs there. I don't even know what Naheem Hines was doing on that play. And it ends up being a sack. I was going to say that I thought number 7 was
in a past life.
Yeah.
We'll say that another thing is, we're talking about the reasons why they decided to go with Tryon-Shoyinka over Okoronkwo. You have to play Lamar Jackson twice a year. You got to play these mobile, athletic quarterbacks, and Okoronkwo is a little bit more explosive just because of his size. So Okoronkwo, well, he was at least when they were coming out. So this is another thing. Like, you lose athletic ability as you age. So 4-year age difference. Okoronkwo had a 30-inch vertical, and Tryon-Shoyinka's was 35 inches. So they're pretty similar as far as explosion, but they have pretty identical agility testing numbers. And Tryon-Shoyinka had a 40-yard dash that was about 1/10 of a second faster at the bigger size. So there's these physical skill set differences between the two that I think make him a much better fit for not only what the Browns like to do on defense, but what they have to face on defense. I think it's just another reason why they decided to make this switch.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's it. That's our breakdown there on JTS. We appreciate you so much. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're almost there, man. We're like 300 subs from less than 300 subs from our 10,000 sub goal. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Tomorrow, Tuesday, that means Jeff Lloyd back Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Browns 3D. And then Brad Ward and Pete Smith at 7 on Tuesday with React. We appreciate you guys so much. Next week, we will talk about Malik Collins. But until